Today we got the Colt 9mm AR15. Just like any traditional AR15, all the operations are the same, with a slight variation in the dust cover and the shell deflector. This one has been somewhat modified with some Magpul accessories, Troy Industries free float rail, and a Surefire flashlight in a mount. It's a 32 round magazine. There are also 20 round magazines. Colt does not offer this gun anymore to the public, so you really can't get this thing. There are other manufacturers though, CMMG, Rock River, all of them offer a very, very nice 9mm carbine. But if you want, why don't you give it a shot?
So Sal, tell me a little bit more about this thing. I mean, it actually kicked, not quite like a regular AR-15.
It does have a little bit of recoil to it, mainly because the function is different from a traditional AR-15. The AR-15 is a direct impingement gas blowback system where gas actually travels through the gas tube on the rifle to cycle the action back. But with the 9mm, it's a blowback action, so actually firing the gun actually cycles the action. It brings the bolt back without the use of the typical gas tube that you find on a standard AR-15. So you do feel a little bit more recoil. The bolt's a little bit heavier in my opinion. It's just a slightly different variation of the AR-15. But other than that, I mean, everything else is pretty much the same. Most of the conversions or 9mm uppers for the AR-15 will drop down on a standard lower. You may need a mag block or a special lower to make it work, but it's an awesome alternative to the 5.56 round. Definitely cheaper to shoot, in some cases, you know, easier to find. Definitely gives you just another option. That's just one of the great things about the AR-15 platform.
Definitely. And this thing here, does it keep the casings from smacking you in the face, or?
It's a little bit of both. It's supposed to be a blast deflector and a shell deflector. Honestly, I've read reviews where people have taken them off and not had any issues, put standard dust covers on them, but that's just the way they come from the factory.
So Sal, is this a pretty rare gun?
It's not really rare, it's just a little bit more difficult to get since Colt stopped producing them. There are surplus guns on the market from law enforcement agencies, definitely places like Gunbroker, things like that, you can find them, and they definitely pop up on the used market. The Colt guns are a little bit more desirable. They have a pinned mag block. They don't use any kind of special adaptation or adapter to make it work with the 9mm round. The CMMG lowers that are out now, that are currently in production, offer a dedicated 9mm lower, but you cannot use it as an AR-15 with a traditional 5.56 round. But you can't do that with the Colt either, so it's really not an issue. But those can be had for considerably less money than what you're probably going to find a used Colt for.
So trying to get my hands on one of these new is just not possible anymore.
Pretty much. Unless you're law enforcement or military, you're not going to get one from Colt, unless you happen to know somebody like the president or vice president.
Well, I'm glad we got you out here to show us this thing. So how many rounds does this thing hold, and what's the, like, I don't know, the different mags you can get for it?
Well, currently now they offer a 32 round Colt mag, which I believe these are no longer in production or for sale on the civilian side, along with a 20 round magazine. There are some Polymer Pro Mag magazines out there, which you know, may or may not be as reliable as the traditional Colt mag, and there are metal form mags out there, which are said to be made by the same manufacturer that made the Colt mags for Colt. But those are probably your only options. The 32 rounders are definitely more common in the more desirable magazine. There are companies that make drum mags for them. I haven't tried one. I couldn't tell you for their reliability, but they are out there.
Okay. So have you had any problems out of it? Have you ran, I don't know how many different types of ammo you've ran through it?
Well, this is a fairly new gun to me. I haven't had it long, but I've put about 400 rounds through it. Mostly full metal jacket, but I have shot some hollow points through it without any malfunction, no issues whatsoever. It's definitely been a pleasing gun to shoot. It's definitely a happy addition to the collection.
Well guys, I appreciate you watching our quick video on this 9mm AR-15. Don't forget to subscribe, check out our other videos.